Joining us now is Congressman Adam Schiff. He's chairman of the committee. Sir, thank you very much for being here tonight. Much appreciated.
You bet.
So you released transcripts tonight of Michael Cohen's 2 closed-door appearances before your committee. Why did you want those transcripts in the public record, and what do you think the public should understand about what he testified to, what he provided you in those hearings?
Well, I think it's important that the public get to see as much as they can of what these witnesses had to say. That's all the more important given that the Trump administration is stonewalling on allowing witnesses like Don McGahn to testify for the public. So where we have access to information that we can't provide the public, we want to do it. And here you can see why we're so concerned about these attorneys that were representing the president and Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner and others, that they may have been involved in trying to get Michael Cohen to testify falsely before our committee. We want to find out, were others involved in that false testimony? One of the things that we'll be interested to ask Bob Mueller is, did he pursue this, or was he deterred because they made what I think is a spurious claim of privilege, the privilege to suborn perjury? There is no such privilege. But it may be that Mueller made the same conclusion he did with trying to get Donald Trump to testify, and that is it would simply take too long to litigate.
In terms of the Trump Tower Moscow lies, we've got Cohen here spelling out and providing documents to your committee to bolster his account. He says he was told to downplay Ivanka Trump's involvement to the point where he says he was asked basically to lie about her involvement, to say things that weren't true in terms of excluding her from this story. He's also saying explicitly, and he's admitted in court, that he lied about the timeline of this, saying that Trump Tower Moscow negotiations were over months before they were actually over. At this point, now that you've looked into this as much as you have, and you've taken this testimony, you've seen these documents, is it clear to you why the timeline is so important here, why they were trying to minimize their involvement and specifically make it seem like it ended earlier than it did?
Sure. I mean, the public narrative they wanted to tell was this deal ended before the primaries even began, before the Iowa caucuses. We had no business dealings with any Russians or the Russian government after that point. That was a lie. They were seeking to make hundreds of millions of dollars. They were seeking the Kremlin's help to do it. You can imagine how damaging that would be if it had come out during the campaign that the president was lying about his business interests with a foreign adversary. They also thought it was important to cover up after the fact. And what is so damaging to our national security in all this is the Russians were on the other end of this transaction. The Russians knew the president was lying about this. And you have the weird prospect of the Kremlin, through Dmitry Peskov, someone they sought to get help to make this deal happen, this guy close to Putin, issuing a statement last year basically helping the president cover up and say, we never followed up on these overtures, when in fact the Kremlin did follow up.
When Michael Cohen talks about pardons and the discussion about a potential presidential pardon for crimes associated with this whole cover-up, is it your understanding that the pardon discussion was designed to make Michael Cohen feel more comfortable about lying to Congress, that it was designed to get him to continue to lie either to Congress or to other investigators, that it was designed to preclude his potential plea deal and cooperation deal with prosecutors? What's your understanding about the importance of these pardon discussions as spelled out by Cohen and as you understand from the rest of your investigation?
Well, you know, one of the reasons we wanted the full transcripts out there is so that the public could see them and interpret them for themselves. But I think what comes off the page is that the lawyers around the president, and Cohen says that they were in touch with their client, the president, as they were having these conversations about pardons. They wanted Michael Cohen to toe the line, and the line was, we have no business deals with Russia. And so they show second law, according to Cohen, this pre-written statement that he's going to provide to our committee that gives a false timeline. It's a false timeline that, according to Cohen, he agreed upon with Sekulow to maintain this narrative that the deal was over before the Iowa caucuses. It's apparently shown to the president. The president is very pleased with it. Now, the president would know that was false also. But yes, this was a way of keeping him on board, keeping him from deviating from the party line by saying, the client's very happy with you, Michael. You don't have to worry about anything. You've got a friend in high places. You can sleep well tonight. So that's essentially saying, don't worry about any legal liability. We've got you covered. There's a pardon waiting at the end of all of